All right. Hey, everyone. Just wanted to make a quick video about how I use WordPress to build my website. So my personal portfolio site, or my personal website now, rather, mattopinski.com, is built on WordPress. It's a totally custom, from scratch WordPress theme. And my company site, which hopefully you can see here right now, is also a custom WordPress theme designed and built from scratch. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview of behind the scenes of how I actually go about doing this. What plugins do I use to get this, custom layout working, and show you a little bit of code you can see here as well, and just sort of explain high level how I make this happen, because I don't use Webflow. I don't use any pre-made WordPress themes and customize them. All this is totally done from scratch. So if you're going to do it this way, I'll show you. I'll tell you just up front that if you are going to do a custom WordPress theme from scratch, then you are going to have to know some coding. So you're going to have some ability to code. Ideally, you'll have some design experience as well, and you'll be able to sort of piece these things together. If you don't have any coding ability and you're not super design oriented or visual design oriented, then I'd probably just start with something like Webflow, or maybe use a custom WordPress or a pre-made WordPress theme with a couple of plugins. And I think that just me explaining sort of the plugins that I use and how I use them will be helpful no matter what in this video if you want to do WordPress. But anyway, so this is sort of how I set everything up. So the first step when I design, or when I start creating a custom WordPress site, is I design the whole thing from scratch. So you can do that any way you want. I do it from scratch because obviously I'm a designer. That's my primary skill. So I like designing everything from scratch. But really, you could go to any resource website like Theme Forest or something and download just like the HTML version of a theme. That way, you have that starting point. You have the good design, you have the code, and then all you really have to do is just replace the bits of code in the theme file that you want. So basically what you would do is you have your HTML code, and then whatever content you want to be dynamic or editable in WordPress, when you log into your WordPress backend, then you would just replace that code with some snippets that I'll kind of get to in a little bit here. So that could be a good starting point. But for me, I do everything from scratch, and then code everything. So I code all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And that whole process is really very normal. Like that's like the typical design process, right? You design it and then you code the front end. And then the next part is getting it working in WordPress. That's sort of what I want to spend most of my time here showing you. So I'll walk you through. We're going to look at my company website because my personal website right now is not so much a portfolio. And my company website really is. It's much closer to my old design portfolio. It's just got company branding on it. So just think about this as a small portfolio site where we have work, we have services, a company page, a blog, and a couple things like that. So if you haven't seen this site before, I'd recommend going to look at it. It's madebymatthews.com is where you can find this site. And you can see, if we go over here, I have case studies. This is my local version, so it's not going to be as filled out as the live version. Then a gallery page that pulls in my dribble shots dynamically, and a before and after. And all this stuff is editable and manageable in WordPress. Same thing with services. I have these services pages. So I'll just click around the site real quick so you can get an idea of kind of what, these are what I'm doing here. These are editable in the back end. The testimonials are editable in the back end. And then obviously the articles I can write and organize in the back end as well. So if we go ahead and look at my WordPress dashboard, there's really a few main things I use to set all this up. So the punchline to a lot of this is that I use advanced custom fields, which is a premium WordPress plugin that I pay for. I think I have a developer license for it, and it's well worth it. If you're going to spend money on doing this and you think that a custom WordPress theme is the way to go, I would highly recommend paying for the Advanced Custom Fields Pro plugin. And then the other thing I use is Toolset Types. So I'll do ACF WordPress. Advanced Custom Fields has phenomenal documentation. I love their website. I love their documentation. It's super easy to understand. I've had nothing but good experiences with Advanced Custom Fields. The other thing I use is Toolset Types. And this basically lets you create custom post types. So if you look in WordPress, the only post type you get by default is posts. And this is where your blogs live. But what if you wanted these to be case studies? Or what if you wanted these to be testimonials? Or what if you wanted these to be services that you could add just like this, but with whatever fields you wanted? So for a case study, you might have an image, a description, a gallery, and a few other things. Excuse me. So that's what I've done over here. The Toolset Types plugin lets me create custom post types like this. So I can have a projects section, and these are my projects that I've added. A testimonial section. These are the testimonials that I've added. Comparisons, you saw that comparisons page. So these are the comparisons that I have here. The before and after tab is the comparisons. And then the Advanced Custom Fields plugin lets me create custom fields for these. So I'll do an easy one. I'll do testimonials for now. So if I click into a testimonial, these are custom fields. So Advanced Custom Fields lets me say, if the custom post type is testimonials, then show these fields. So we'll have an image field, a title field, or a text field that's called client name, a text field that's called client title, a text area that's called client quote. And then these fields will only show up under this custom post type. Then what I can do in my code is basically anywhere I want these testimonials to appear, I just run a WP query, WordPress query, just like I would for looping through my articles, my posts, my normal posts. I would just change one of the parameters to look for the testimonials custom post type, and then it will spit out whatever I tell it, and then I can, get all the data that's being input here into my HTML, and that's how I get this custom content into into my custom design, if that makes sense. So, for example, projects. So we'll look at a project real quick. In fact, I'll add a new project. So project details, I have all these custom fields. I can really do anything we want. I even have flexible content. So this is a really, really powerful. I won't get into it too much, but this is super powerful. I can basically dynamically create a page. So I can add a new module, and I can create these modules right here. So I can add a rich text module, and that has a title field and a rich text field. I can also add a testimonial module, and that one just has a testimonial ID, and I don't need to get into what I'm doing there. Basically, I'm just pulling in that ID, and everything else is sort of happening behind the scenes. That way I'm not recreating content. A content with image module, I have the actual image itself, so I can do this and upload an image. I can frame just basically says does it have a border, and then a caption. So that is pretty much how that's working. And I'll show you that in a minute. Actually, let's go ahead and do it right now. Custom fields. So my process here when I'm setting up the backend is basically to go here, and we'll look at let's look at testimonials because that one's easy. So I'll add a new field group. I'll call it testimonials, and then I can add. This is the Advanced Custom Fields Pro plugin. So I can add these fields and say, all right, I want to add a field called client image. This is important. This is what we'll use in our PHP code. The field type is an image. So I can pick what field type I want. Then I can come down here and I have some settings. Like I can say, well, when someone uploads an image, just spit out the URL. And then I can just put the little snippet of code in the HTML image source attribute. And it'll populate the URL, which is pretty much what I always do. And there's some other nice settings in here. I can rearrange these in any order I want. And then I can say, where should this show up? So if the post type is equal to testimonial, then these fields will only show when I go to add a new testimonial. And then there's some nice other settings down here, like what to hide on the screen, so you can get rid of the content editor box if you don't need it. So that's sort of how custom fields work. Is really, really powerful. I want to go into tools. Sorry, not tools. Let's see, Toolset post types. So this is how I would create a new post type. So just, I know I'm a little scattered here. So the right order of things is design the website, code the front end of the website, make it look just like you normally would. Then the next thing you want to do is have a WordPress installation set up, install advanced custom fields, install Toolset Types, pay for the pro versions of those plugins. It's well worth it. And then your next step after that would be to actually create the custom post type first. So if we look at testimonials, I'll just fill in this information here. There's lots of options, but basically just type in a name, a plural name, a singular name, the slug or the ID. And then down here, we can rewrite the URL options. So, you know, the domain name, you know, is this yourwebsite.com/blog/testimonials, or is this just /testimonials? So you have some control over where exactly this lives, whether it has an archive or not. There's some cool settings in here. Then you can select where you want it in the admin menu bar. So this is over on the left here. Testimonial should come after comparison. So that's all that's saying. It's going to add a new, this is how you get this extra custom post type in the left side of the screen over here. So then we'll save the custom post type, and what it'll do is create this custom post type over here. And if you click it, this will all be blank, but you'll have the option to say add new. And it'll say add new testimonial. This is where that singular and plural name comes into play. So it'll say add new testimonial. You can fill out all the information, you can save it, and then you're done. And once you have that information in here, once you've created your custom post types, you've created your custom fields, so you create the custom post type, then you create your custom fields, whatever you need them to be, based on your design. You can look at your design and say, okay, I need an image, I need a title, I need a description, and I need a button. And you can add those to this. So once you have those done, the next step is actually getting this data to display in this custom theme that you've designed and coded the front end for. So the way that I'm doing that is, let's see if I can do, let's see what I can find here. Okay, so this is where you're gonna have to know, some code to make this work. So if you're not super comfortable with looking at stuff like this, then I'd recommend just using something like Webflow. That might be a little bit easier, or a WordPress theme out of the box, or a Squarespace website, or Wix website, or something like that. But if you're comfortable diving into something like this, then I think that my personal preference is this is the way to go. I love having this level of control over everything. With things like Webflow that try to do a lot of it for you, these no-code tools, like I'm fortunate enough that I've taken years to learn how to do all this. So I know how to code, and because I know how to code, I like doing it this way because I have a lot of control over everything. So anyway, here's what you'll do. You'll basically set up a new query. So what this is saying is we're going to set up some arguments here. I'm going to say the post type should be testimonial. So only return data from the post type of testimonials. So this is basically going to loop through all the testimonials and pick out all the testimonials I tell it to. In this case, it's only going to spit out 4. It's going to spit them out in according to the post date in ascending order. So the first or the most recent 4 that I have published will show up here. And then we just run a new WordPress query. All this is in the developer documentation. I don't write any of this stuff from memory. I always either copy it from a previous theme or I look it up in the WordPress documentation, which is also really good. A little confusing at times, but really thorough. There's lots and lots of Stack Overflow articles and stuff on this. So then what I'm doing is this is really the HTML code that I wrote to begin with, or that you would have to begin with. So this is just one of the testimonials. And in here, you can see in the image source and in the author and the title, this is where I have these custom fields. So this custom field data, if I want to say get the client image from that I uploaded here, I want to put it in the image source of this HTML element here. And this is all I have to do. I just get the identifier that I typed in, and I can type this in, make it whatever I want. And this is it. This is the little snippet that I put in there. And this is the client name, and this is the client title. So that's literally all I have to do. It's as easy as that. And then this is the actual testimonial itself. This is the client quote that's coming out of this big text area here. So it's really not that bad. It's just plugging in, just creating a loop, telling it to grab the right data, and then putting that data using the advanced custom fields syntax here into the right places in my HTML. And that's really all I'm doing for almost the entire website. And that's how I get a really high-end custom website with the power and capability to do anything I want with the content on the back end, anything I want to be editable. Now, in some cases, things get a little more advanced than this, but I would say this is like 80% of what I do. For the work page, so we'll take a look at projects. So I have 3 projects, and these projects have a title, a type, a description, a color, a image, and then all this flexible content. Flexible content gets a little bit trickier, but really all I'm doing is I'm saying get up to 9 projects. So same exact thing. I literally just copied the same exact thing and changed the variable names here. So the post type is now projects instead of testimonials. I'm going to get 9, and I'm going to get them by the order that they were published in ascending order. And then for each of these, I'll show you what I'm actually doing. This is the loop that generates this list. This right here is the HTML that I already have coded. It already looked good. All I'm doing is saying get the permalink, which is just standard WordPress syntax for get the URL of this project. So this is a nice reference to if you have a list of things that need to be linked to an individual detail page, like a case study. So you'll have a list of your case studies, and then you'll be able to click on one, and it'll take you to that specific page. And then you'll have single projects. This is the template for that case study detail page. So there's a couple nuances here with, like, you know, how do you, the name of this file matters, the name of these files matter, the template name up here matters. So there's some things that I won't get into in this video with like how you have to actually set all this up, but this is I'm trying to keep this high level overview. So really all you have to do again is just plug in the information here. So whatever the custom field name was, you put that in here, and then just put this little PHP snippet where you need that content to show up, and that's where it shows up. So it's really that easy. That's pretty much it. Like I said, that's really all I'm doing. All this other stuff, if you're not too familiar with WordPress, like, in the header file, basically just code my navigation the way I want it to look, and then when I'm ready to hook it up to WordPress, or when I add a page, I want that page to show up in the navigation. All I'm doing is pulling it in from the menu list here. So you go into WordPress, you create a menu, you give it a name, and then you put that name in here, and it pulls in those menu items. So that's really all that's happening. The other plugins I like to use is Yoast SEO Premium. This is a phenomenal plugin. There's really nothing you even have to do in the code. Actually, I don't think there's anything you have to do in the code at all. It's sort of magic. So I love the control that I have over this. So it pulls in my custom post types, which is fantastic. So for the projects page, maybe I want a custom meta description or a custom title for the projects page. So things like that, testimonials page, services page, taxonomies, you can do custom taxonomies, archives, special pages. So the 404 page, I can have special, or the search page, I can have special page titles for that. So this is really, really powerful. I love Yoast SEO. It's helped me a lot to help my website rank higher. It gives me all the control that I need right here to do that. I'm trying to think if there's any other any other plugins that I use. Let's take a look at the plugins page real quick. Admin columns is fun. I like admin columns. Basically, when you're here in one of your post types like projects, it might be nice to show the image so you can more easily see what is what in here. So if I go to here, edit columns, I can say add a column, and that's going to be, let's see, we'll do advanced custom fields. And we'll do, these are all the custom fields that I created. Project hero image. So we'll do that. And let's see if it'll let me save that. Okay, so that didn't quite work, but it's probably just because I don't have it configured right. So the idea here is that you'll be able to customize what columns show up here. So that's pretty cool. That's what you get for trying to do something live without testing for it. I also love Gravity Forms. Gravity Forms is fantastic. I pay for that as well. Well worth it to pay for these plugins, in my opinion. You'll never have to use anything else. Just get the lifetime developer license. And this is what I've been using for every project for years now. Gravity Forms is really beautiful. I love, you know, if I want to collect client information, so when you click start your project, this is the type of form that I can create with Gravity Forms. And really all I'm doing here is just styling a container and then dropping the Gravity form in and then just writing some custom CSS to style the fields that I want. So there's really no custom HTML work here. It's mostly just CSS. And that's really it. This lets me pull in all the information I want anywhere on my site into any of the templates, however I want. So I have full control over the design, full control over the content, full control over where it appears. And it's pretty easy to do if you're familiar, a little bit familiar with WordPress code. So anyway, I hope this was a decent starter overview video just to give you a little bit of behind the scenes look at sort of how I have things set up. Again, advanced custom fields, toolset types, Yoast SEO, and Gravity Forms. Those four things are like going to get, they'll get you a long way if you're going to do any kind of custom WordPress development like this. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. And yeah, thanks for watching.